We're now public.
Okay, welcome everyone to Kingston Police Services Board meeting number 2201, dated December 16th, 2021. To get started on the agenda, is there a disclosure of a conflict of interest? No? Okay. And then can I get an approval of the agenda? Jeff, Jimmy, thank you. All in favor? Good. May I have a motion to postpone one month, the election of chair and vice chair that we're supposed to do annually for 2022. Seeing that Councillor Doherty is not joining us today, so we'll just may I have a motion to postpone that 1 month. Christian, Jimmy, very good. All in favor? Good. Okay, and then can I have a motion to for the adoption of the minutes from the last meeting held on November 15th, 2021, and for the minutes of the meeting of November 18th. Jeff, Jimmy, very good. All in favor? Good. Thank you. And then we're going to go, I'll invite the chief or deputy to correspond with the communications from the Ministry of the Solicitor General. First, I have regarding the vaccine clinic security.
Yes, good afternoon, Chair and board members.
Hi.
This memo is outlining COVID vaccine security for the local vaccinations. And specifically in relation to the fact that young people now are permitted to get their vaccines. So there's obviously a large project taking place to ensure vaccine safety and the safety of all those attending. And this memo just outlines essentially what we can do if there's a threat, where we should send that information, and what we can do in relation to assisting our local health units with regards to safety at the vaccination centers. And this is something that we're currently working on with our community. But that's what the memo is outlining.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay. Next will be the use of force and firearms and policing services.
Certainly, this memo is outlining the fact that when COVID and the pandemic began, the province provided a period of time in which police services could defer the use of force requirements, as we're required to recertify yearly. It was extended to 2 years. And now this document is just outlining that effective November 16th, we are back to the fact that we have to qualify everyone within that 12-month period. And essentially all the police services came together needless to say, to ensure all their staff were compliant with the use of force regulations, and we are compliant locally. But this memo is just saying that no longer do you have 24 months, you only have 12.
Very good. Okay. And next would be, or any questions for that? Okay. This would be regarding the Ontario Major Case Management Provincial Software Secondment Opportunity together, and it has a job specification.
Yes, so the major case management team is looking for a sergeant or a detective to be seconded to the unit for a 2-year period. And they're specifically going to be assisting with the software coordination and the delivery and support of Ontario's policing services, integrating Power Case into their major case investigations. So it's just outlining a job description for those who are interested. They are more than welcome to apply.
Okay, thank you. Next is regarding the new short form wordings for offenses in the Liquor License and Control Act.
Yes, so this document's outlining essentially there's been some changes to the Liquor License Act, and it's a new legal framework that's been developed, and it came into effect on November 29th, essentially outlining a new short form wordings and set fines. So these are done, this was done essentially to make it easier for businesses and consumers to understand the Liquor License Act. So this document outlines all the new short form wordings, the set fines that go along with it. So that's essentially what, if officers are issuing a provincial offenses notice, this is what they would write in their on the ticket itself. So it's just a lot more explanation about the act itself, and it's available publicly for consumers, and it's just to notify our policing personnel of those changes.
Very good, thank you. Next would be regarding the extension of 1 week to the grant for safety and policing. I guess that was a typo, was it? And then they just changed it?
Yeah, we talked about that, the grant that's available for us, the local stream and the provincial stream, and it was just a misprint. And so the deadline is Friday, January the 14th, 2022 at 4 p.m.
Thanks. Next is regarding COVID-19 Johnson & Johnson vaccinations.
Yes, and this is really just outlining that there's a limited supply of the single dose Johnson & Johnson. And it's been made available to individuals aged 18 and over who have an allergy or contraindication to the mRNA vaccines. And those interested in accessing this vaccine are encouraged to contact their local public health units.
Okay. And then regarding the virtual real reality of mental health crisis response training and the registration for municipal and First Nation police services.
The ministry has partnered with Wilfrid Laurier University, Ryerson, and University of Victoria to develop this virtual reality mental health crisis response training. It's a scenario-based curriculum, offers training protocols on de-escalation and mental health crisis for Ontario Police Services. And this has been passed on to our training unit to evaluate and to register our service. It's due registration date is tomorrow, December 17th. And again, this course was designed by a broad range of organizations and expert police panels to support police services on the recommendations that were made in a matter of life and death from the Ontario Ombudsman.
Okay, any questions? No, okay. And then for the following.
Sorry, Mr. Chair,
Yeah,
just a
Jimmy.
question to the chief
Yeah.
for the item 7. Is any member of our police force will be able to participate in this training?
Yes, that we're looking towards going towards that. Yes.
And what was the criteria will be for who is able to attend or can attend or cannot?
For our members, for them to come here, and we have to register by December 17th.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Next would be the communications from the Canadian Association of Police Governance. Is there any questions with that from the board? And I'll just go through. And then Ontario Association of Police Boards, there's an email regarding the final update to the OAPSB Zone 2 meeting, and that's already gone. It's already done, so I don't know why I'm bringing that up. Okay, so then we're going to go on to the Human Rights Commission. Statement from the Human Rights Commission with respect to commemorating December 3rd, 2021 as International Day of Persons with Disabilities. Let's ensure that people with disabilities benefit equality from measures to address the pandemic. Okay. There are no delegations, reports. No unfinished business. The chief is going to report on the costs involved with respect to the homecoming.
There was a motion there beforehand about the CAPG webinar bundle, if I'm not mistaken, Lori, is that right?
Thank you, Chief. I was just going to interrupt.
Yes, there is. So the police board purchase of the yearly webinar bundle from the Canadian Association of Police Governments at a cost of $1,100. Can I have a motion? Thank you, Christian, Jimmy, all in favor? Very good. Thank you, Chief, for that. And then now we will get to you for the report on the costs involved with the couple weeks of the Queen's homecoming.
Yes, and as you recall, Inspector Funnel outlined the 2021 Queen's Homecoming deployment for you last board meeting. And during that time, we did not have the full accounting of all the costs that were associated with Queen's. So we have that all together now. And it was also highlighted when we did the budget presentation to council as well. That was, it brought up in terms of past, present, and future spending and the impacts on this year's budget. So what I can say is that the amount of money that we're talking about now is all the costs that are associated with policing the weekends, all the weekends in September. So that we Thursday, Friday, Saturday night overtime for all the numbers of the university district with all the large numbers that were out. It's also for all the same for the month of October. And then it also includes the 2 weekends, the homecoming and the faux homecoming, where we had the additional resources coming to us for assistance. So just for the Kingston Police overtime, their costs associated for September and October, including the overtime incurred for the 2 homecoming weekends, it came to a total of just $437,537. So just $438,000. In terms of the other police agencies, so that would include the OPP, Toronto Police, Durham, and York, and that's for the 2 weekends that we had the homecoming and the faux homecoming. That came to a total of $410,288. And then in terms of meals and accommodations and supplies for those weekends was $145,607. So the total was $433.65 in total. So just $994,000 if you round it up.
Okay. Is that the, would you consider that to be the most costly of all the years since you've been chief?
Absolutely. I mean, even when you compare back in the day, you know, I mean, you know, in terms of salary dollars are different now than they were back in 2010, 2011, when we had the additional police services that were there helping us. So, you know, we obviously have done some mitigating of expenses there to sort of help adjust us on the different budget lines to keep costs down. But we do have we will be taking into account, and this has not been taken into account yet, but the $310,000 from Queens, and then the administrative monetary penalties that the city has. I mean, we've been working with Desiree and the city with respect to mitigating the costs of the $994,000 with them. We talked a bit about the projected deficit when we take into account all of this is roughly $300,000. And that's again what we had talked about at our council meeting with the budget. And again, I know John Howes is working with Desiree Kennedy, CFO, to look into this.
Remember
I have a,
oh, sorry, go ahead, Jimmy.
sorry. So almost we spent $1 million or $1,000 to just 3 weekend or 2 weekend. And
Also taking into account, it also takes into account every Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. So all for the month of September and the months of October. And that also takes into account when the different agencies came down to assist their accommodation.
I understand that, but it just the cost is not only for that 2 days or 3 days weekend, but it also, but again, can you separate the cost for just those 2-3 special days in the homecoming weekend and separate the September and October Thursday, Friday nights? How much cost? I just want to know how much money we spend and how much money city gain, and as a taxpayer, what is our benefit?
So in terms of the 2 weekends itself, it came to just over 410,000, and that's the outside agencies and the local agencies too that were helping us, which is Belleville and Brockville and Smith Falls. But and then what isn't parsed out, and John, I don't know if you have that, the overtime cost just for the Kingston Police for the homecoming weekend and the faux homecoming weekend. So take that little bit out of the $437,000. How much would, I don't know if you can easily separate that out.
Yeah, it's just the question I ask you, because for those who always challenge why the policing, the budget is increased. So where that money goes is time to time has to be highlighted, where we are just, for me, as a Kingstonian, as a taxpayer, the 400 or 500,000 is just waste to just accommodate that crowd, which is not providing us any much better life for 2 days, damaging other properties and costing more money to the insurances and like a private properties. So we have to reconsider, and all of those who is in the favor and not in the favor. Somebody is in favor to why the police ask more money every year. And some people, they are in the favor the homecoming should take place. All parties has to think about it, how much money we spend and what is the benefit politically or socially we are having from this homecoming. And that's 400,000 we can spend on on the policing to make our community much more safer and better. And that's just you throw out of the window. This is not fair. Anyway, that's not the police fault, but that's, as a community, we have to think about it.
Thank you, Jim. So is the city, the police, and Queens having the conversation of what can be different?
Yes, I mean, those conversations are being had, and certainly there's opportunities, I think, in terms of down the road when we have legislation with the new Police Services Act, there's could be an opportunity for cost recovery abilities in these kinds of situations and what that might look like. So that's certainly something that the chiefs would be advocating for.
Yeah, yeah, because it's not just here; it's every city that has a university, right? Right. Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, Chief, have you talked to other police chief in Ontario on the people had a similar situation in their cities for the homecoming on like a Toronto or some other, wherever, Ottawa, where the people have a university and they have such events? Are they costing them the same type of amount?
Well, certainly, I know that when we're talking to London, talking to Guelph, talking to Waterloo, they've had these issues as well. As you mentioned with Ottawa, they all rely on other public order units coming in to assist them as well. So they would have the same kind of costs that would be attributed depending on how many units that they would need for their own community.
Okay, so we are not alone. Just want to make sure that we're not alone in this game. All right, thank you very much.
Cool. Jeff.
Might be reminded, how much did the Queens say they would help contribute to this?
$350,000 this time. So some of that, 310, talking to Lanny Hurdle, and so 310,000 would be directed our way, and there would be some to cover the costs of bylaw as well behind. But then, of course, I know that there's a significant amount of dollars that are coming through the administrative monetary penalties, of course, that the city's looking at recovering. So they're addressing that.
So it sounds like Queens is still costing us 600,000. In other words, that's the short.
Yep.
That's the extra amount.
Okay. And it just makes me think that the other side of that is that the taxes collected because Queens are here. I imagine that greatly outweighs the cost. I mean, that's the argument anyways.
It's no doubt. It's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But
Jeff, go ahead. You have a question.
Queens properties don't pay taxes; they pay payments in lieu, which are significantly lower.
True. Okay.
Yeah, good point, Jeff.
Although they do shop, sales taxes.
Yeah, I sell pizza to them.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go forward. Thank you, Chief, for that. Was there any other questions? Okay. Then next, new business. I would ask that our guest, Sergeant Cameron Gaw, to introduce the new president of the Kingston Police Association. Hi, Cam, how you doing?
Good, Jared. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for the quick opportunity here to, I guess, sort of say a quick farewell on behalf of myself and then to introduce Darcy. So just quickly, I've worked with several boards and several board members over the years. Built some pretty good relationships with different people from the community, which are, things I value and am happy to have done. We've been able to successfully negotiate through bargaining collective agreements, sworn and civilian, several times without having to involve third parties. So I appreciate that ability, because there's a lot of places that don't have that opportunity, and it's a lot more adversarial. So I thank this board and Chair Stearns and the previous boards for that opportunity. I'd also like to recognize and thank Donna Harrington, who was the board secretary for a number of years. I worked closely with Donna on several things, and welcome Lori at the same time to the important role as the secretary for the Police Services Board. Lori, you'll have lots of learning to do, and please don't hesitate to walk down the hallway or reach out if you have a question or something like that. I'd be happy to talk. And also a thank you to the KPA boards that I have been on while I was the president. Again, there were several members that came and went in my time. I learned a lot from different people, and again, just built friendships and relationships that I cherish. Even Councillor McLaren got to come to a labor conference with the association a couple of years ago, and that was a fun night, having a dinner and some social time and getting to know each other. In particular, Jay Alvis has been the vice president and sort of a person to lean on over the years. So I'd like to personally thank him as well too for his hard work and dedication to the board and the bargaining processes that we've all got to know. And the real reason we're here is I'd like to introduce and welcome the incoming president, Darcy Petty, who's been a member of the board, and probably some of the police board members are familiar with Darcy from bargaining and other engagements. I've known Darcy personally since we were kids, and professionally for a number of years now. We worked together in CID and the association work. So I've identified Darcy as somebody that will be good for this role, and I am happy that he is one person that stepped up and will be able to take on this job, because it is a lot of work at times. That being said, I'll just slide the computer across the table here to Darcy, and he can introduce himself. So hope everyone's well, stay safe, stay healthy, and just have a good holiday season if I don't get a chance to talk to anybody until the break.
Thank you, Cam.
Thank you.
Hello, Darcy.
Hi, thanks for that intro, Cam. First and foremost, I'd like to just thank Cam as well. He's been the president for 6 years and served on the board for longer. I can tell you firsthand that there's no days off for Cam. He's would take calls in the summer holidays at the cottage. When he's not feeling well, he never wavered as president. And if people don't already know, he's taken on the role of director on the board of the Police Association of Ontario. So he's tackling some provincial level problems and advocating on the provincial level. So he still remains on the Kingston Police Association Executive Board as past president for the next 3 years. So he's a great asset to me, our board, and anyone else that needs to pick his brain. So his dedication is greatly appreciated by our board and our membership. So thank you very much, Cam. I'd also like to say that he in the last number of months and even years kind of identified certain people on the board for succession planning. And Jay Albless as the vice president, he's been the vice president for a while, and a few other members that are more senior to the board could have easily stepped into this role. We've got a great engaged board, and as well as some new faces on our board recently. So we've got a good diverse group on our board, and I'm really excited for the people that we have. And that being said, if people don't know me, I'm born and raised in Kingston. I received my degree in mathematics from Elmira College in New York, and then completed my master's in of science and teaching, which is essentially teachers college up here. So from there, I taught briefly in high school up in Oshawa, and then back in St. Lawrence College, where I taught a class for the Laurentian business degree program. That's just prior to being hired as a constable. And my time spent with the Kingston Police, I've spent a number of years in patrol before going into the sexual assault and child abuse unit, before coming into forensic identification unit where I am now. I've been on the association for this is my 7th year now, where I spent time as a director, secretary, and now stepping into the president's role. So I thought I knew, had a good understanding of what CAM, the workload and all of the obligations as president, and I quickly learned in the first 2 weeks that I didn't fully understand. It's a lot of work. We're full-time constables and almost full-time association afterwards. So I've hit the ground running, and I'm very pleased and humbled and honored to be the leader of the Kingston Police Association. We have upwards of 300 members, both sworn and civilian, and our members are proud to be police officers and proud to work for the Kingston Police, and they do a phenomenal job. They work for our community, they work for each other, and they do a lot of extra work outside of their prescribed hours of work. There's a lot of community involvement, and as an association, we've adopted that same idea. We've over the years have donated a lot of money back into the community as the association, and do a lot of events to raise money and also bring our members on board and to participate in those events. So I just want to say that, and I look forward to working with the Police Services Board. And my phone's always on, and I'd be glad to speak with anyone about anything at all, or just have a cup of coffee and talk about anything at all. So I appreciate this opportunity, Chair, and I guess we'll be in discussion over the next year, and especially as bargaining's not too far away anyway. So that'll be coming up soon enough.
Very good. Well, I look forward to working with you, Darcy. So, and we've had a conversation, we met and stuff, but it's great that you took on the position. So,
thank you.
Yeah. Very good. Any questions for Darcy, anyone? Or yeah, okay. Thank you very much for coming and introducing yourself. Yeah, okay. So next will be motion to move in camera. Okay, Jeff, Christian, good. Okay, all in favor? And that will conclude the public portion of this meeting. Thank you.
A 5 minute or straight to the meeting?
5 minutes.
5 minutes.